Welcome to the first of our hopefully a consistent series of In Conversations with. Our first guest today is Professor Michael Rosemann from QUT. I'm really excited to have him here today. He's been a mentor of mine for many years. I was initially your student.
Correct, yes, a long time ago.
Yeah, more than a decade ago. So we've been keeping in touch and been good friends ever since. I'll let you tell a little bit about yourself and what you do in QUT.
Thanks. So Mervin, it's great to be here. I'm equally excited and lovely to see you, of course, again. As you know, I'm a professor at QUT for information systems. I actually like to relabel it to innovation systems. I would love the idea of being the first professor for innovation systems. But in that space, we try to work out what is innovation, what's a system that supports innovation, what do new graduate students have to know about innovation, and how do we embed scalable, efficient, attractive innovation systems in large corporations across all kinds of industries.
Yeah, and I know that you've been busy doing that and various other things and speaking as well. So do you even lecture anymore these days? Or?
I love lecturing. I don't do it as often as I would love to, but yes, I'm lecturing undergraduate, postgraduate classes, and it's a great sounding board when you talk to digital natives as opposed to established corporate thinkers. So it's a fertile ground to test your own ideas. So I appreciate this a lot, and it's bi-directional value, I hope.
That's great. So I guess the first topic or the first question we want to talk about is more on modern technology and how it has been disrupting, I guess, professions in the world and different ways of thinking about the same problem or solving business issues and so on. An example would be Domino's, for example. They had the Drew drone, and within the year of it being released, the air drones are now more popular, and so they had to rapidly change how they've been rolling that out. And new technologies like low-code application development platforms that help you rapidly build apps and micro apps and mobile apps would also change, I guess, a CIO's view of how to deploy value-adding automated systems or mobile cloud systems in an organization. It boggles the minds of enterprise architects, for example, how quickly these things change and how they could actually manage the change of that. And so all these changes makes me think that current professions need to kind of evolve themselves, need to kind of look outside what they're currently comfortable in doing. Another example is I was part of a Scrum Master training course, and at the end of the course there were a couple of project managers there that were trained in Prince 2, and the question was, where does that leave the project manager now? It sounds like the Scrum Master is taking over some projects, and actually they're the ones that would actually deliver in agile rapid projects. So various disruptive trends and transformational technologies are actually forcing the speed of implementation and sort of changing the way people think about governance and policy changes and implementation methodologies. And hence, I think business analysts, project managers, enterprise architects, CIOs even would have to kind of rethink or sort of explore new skill sets to be able to adapt, I guess, to the current change. Do you see this? Do you agree? Have you?
Absolutely. So I think it's a few years ago that Michael Rosemann and some colleagues from Oxford published a quite well-known story around the impact of technologies on professions. And the outcome was there's now profession protected. And the IT industry, I don't think, is any exception to this. Now the question is this glass half empty or half full? Are we scared or excited? And I think we see both, but at the moment the focus is more on I'm scared than I'm excited. And for me the reason is we see often the problem easier and quicker than the opportunity. We fear that our job will be automated, me as a lawyer, me as an advisor, me as an enterprise architect. It is hard sometimes for us to imagine what else could I do in the future. So I like to characterize this to anyone I talk to as a massive opportunity to be confident and try to work out how does this future look like and how do I position myself well in this future. Now, over the last 10 or 20 years, we've seen tremendous technological changes already. But many of these were maybe micro changes. Certain pieces of software disappear, certain architectures disappeared, and I had to pick up different skill sets, whether it's in the art of architecting or project management. What we see now is change that is not just happening on the set of bullet points in your job description, but I think it's change that will impact the way we call your job. Example, business analysts typically are very good on spotting problems, decomposing problems, and then specifying requirements. They're very reactive in the way they work. The future, I believe, is not problem-rich, but opportunity-rich. There will be an exponentially growing oversupply of what could be done. Now, the business analyst who understands existing problems really well, but can't capture what is possible, will be a dying species. And this is why I believe that the business analyst of the future is not a business analyst, but a business designer. Someone who's able to capture what is possible much more than understanding what is broken. And so I would encourage today's business analysts, in addition to their skill set, to pick up the art of design and strong environmental sensing skills, to understand what technologies are emerging and develop a talent to understand how these new trends can lead to business opportunities.
It's interesting you use the business analyst as an example, because I see the other side as well from a technology perspective, because these low-code application development platforms like Appian, for example, they allow you to actually, codify or program in BPMN. So a lot of business analysts would actually be able to it's almost building the blueprint for the change and systematizing processes in such a way. So I see the other side. On top of being able to design the opportunities and create new opportunities and change in an organization, they're almost building the app as they're doing it. So in some of the projects I've been on, some of the BAs end up actually developing some of these apps, doing micro apps themselves, thereby encroaching or sort of starting to move towards a software development type position as well. So instead of, in one example, instead of having the BA giving a requirements to the developer, you actually have the BA building some of these quick apps, and thereby the developer in that particular development stream goes away. So it's quite a big spectrum, I guess, of the fact that on top of just understanding problems and being able to fix it, you need to have some creativity and some sort of idea generating type skills. And on top of that, some of these modern technologies allow the BA to kind of half build the app already. It's quite a spectrum. Is there, in the university space in QUT, are the courses changing? I remember, I was doing the BPM, Masters of BPM course. Has it changed? Has it evolved to accommodate for
Absolutely. So first of all, let me quickly comment. I'm totally with you. I believe what we do and how we do it is changing. Yeah. So what we do is maybe more opportunity assessment than problem analysis. And how we do it rapidly, with predefined services. The act of orchestration becomes way more important than the act of hands-on coding. So we see changes with the what and the how. And universities all over the world, and QT is no exception, are now reacting to this by inserting new content. And I think we see more multidisciplinary content. So in the old days we probably could narrow it down to the art of programming. But you're right, this is not about creating human little machines who are able to program. This is about what do you do? And so the understanding of business context, business models, the creative design component, and this goes far beyond the pure technical skills. So I very much believe that the future professionals in the disciplines that we talk about are definitely multidisciplinary individuals, while probably over the last decades you could survive on the skills and trade of a single discipline. If your new competition is not just another human but another machine, you probably only can outperform machines when you are multidisciplinary, skilled, and you're able to understand when to use these disciplines and when. And QT is doing this a lot in its curriculum for our students, undergraduate, postgraduate, but also in our corporate education.
Yeah, and I think seeing that trend, I get asked a lot of times, how do you get this hybrid? Because the problem, I guess, as a student back then, you're deciding what career, how you actually choose it. I might have chosen IT to begin with because I didn't want to talk to people. I wanted to talk to the monitor. Give me a requirement, I'll build this piece of code, and it'll be great. And my sense of achievement is actually building an application that actually runs and people use it, not really talking to people, workshop facilitation, and all that sort of thing. And it's converging. People who are sort of creative, or they like to solve business problems, they go into business school, they study MBAs and do all that. They don't like programming, for example.
But also, I think in this field we see that you can't just be a pure business individual, because more or less every single business-related activity connects with IT.
Exactly.
In the old days you could study marketing. Today a marketing professional has to understand search optimization. An accountant in the old days could focus on the art of a balance sheet and a profit and loss statement. Today you have to understand technological developments in that space. So you see the merger goes in both directions. The IT professionals need to contextualize their expertise, and other disciplines have to become more technology aware.
Yeah. A friend of mine the other day just basically said that he's in the risk and digital security space. It's funny that he's saying that in 10 years we might not see accountants anymore because it's all automated, and bookkeeping, everything is kind of data is being entered through automation. The trend then is accounting schools. They would have to teach is more IT accounting, IT auditing, because you're kind of you're looking at how the systems are capturing the dollars, and you're kind of making sure that it's right instead of your old school sort of accounting, keeping the balance sheet and so on.
It's a good point. We probably will always need accounting, but we don't need accountants.
Yeah.
Now, like in so many industries, if I start to automate and human labor is squeezed out of certain positions, what are the higher grounds? What are the higher grounds for a business analyst, an enterprise architect, a software developer when the water level, the flood of automation is hitting you? And this is the component that requires foresight, design, creativity. Let's take another example, the enterprise architect. If at the moment you think in segment frameworks, in layers, you're well trained in over years or decades, you develop the art of creating an architecture for an enterprise. While today's digital economy doesn't think in enterprises anymore. Those value chains are virtual, they involve citizens and smart devices, and the future architect who thinks in the boundaries of an enterprise is a very constrained thinker.
Yeah.
So what we need is ecosystem, marketplace, platform architects, individuals who think far beyond the legal boundaries of an organization.
Yeah.
But that requires intellectual agility and again a solid understanding of what's the difference between architecture for an enterprise versus architecture for an entire ecosystem.
Yeah.
And I've got unconditional confidence. Individuals who do this well will have a safe job for years to come.
Yeah, that's interesting though.